Nation Nation, it's time. Welcome into Boston has entered the chat. Travis Thomas here with my main man, George Balekji. Happy Feel Good Friday, my brother.
Feel Good Friday, hour 2 of the chat,
yes,
hour
Lord.
1 on Nation Nation. Shout out to you guys for joining us. Hey, You want to get in on the party to head into your weekend? Leave us a voicemail, 617-790-0928. 617-790.
Say it again.
0928. Say it slow. I talk fast at times. I'm from Jersey. Tweet at us using the hashtag NestonChat or email us at chat@neston.com. This is the show where we take your group chat and bring the conversation to you guys in the morning. Whatever you're talking about, whatever you're blowing up your phones and your boys about.
That's right.
Red Sox, Celtics, Patriots, Bruins, all right here. Join the chat as well.
Well, coming up, we have so much, but we're going to, of course, start with when will we see Roman Anthony in a Red Sox uni? We'll try and figure out the timeline. We got everything for you here. Remember, you can catch a full hour of us on Neston at 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. right here on Neston Nation. So let's get to it here, George. When will Roman Anthony get the call up exactly? We need to talk about this because you and I both have defended the Red Sox to a certain extent of, look, he's coming. We all know it. But what do we really think expectation-wise is going to happen when he does come up? He's not going to turn around the ship immediately. You're in the midst of a 5-game losing streak right now. You lead the league in extra innings games. Like, you're in these close games. But the tweets, that didn't stop them. The fans, they're rolling in. We have a Roman Anthony call-up prayer circle. I mean, with candles galore, trying to get this guy to the big club, to the big leagues. And George, again, I just don't know what the expectation is here. Even if you bring him up, I'm all for it. Get a spark in the lineup, try to do something to stop the bleeding. Well, what is he going to do? You can't put all this weight on one kid, can you?
You can't. And that's where he has to be realistic with himself and understand how to block out the noise. Much easier said than done, especially playing under the magnifying glass that is playing in a city like Boston. I would say it all the time. When it comes to the sports cities, it's Boston, Philly, New York, LA. And then there's everywhere else around the country. If this was Cincinnati, if this was Seattle, if this was the Texas Rangers, not even the Houston Astros, you can ease your way in and you won't deal with that same type of pressure and the criticism. But being in Boston, stepping in, there will be unfair expectations of Roman Anthony. Me sitting at this table, and I know you're the same way as we watch him. If he opens up the season like Rafael Devers, right? 0 for 19, 15 strikeouts. I go, all right, he's a rookie, man. He's young, but he's a really promising bat. Let him get his feet under him, and then I'll stress it out. But that's not how majority of the population thinks. There will be unfair expectations. That's the job of Craig Breslow, Alex Cora, Jarren Duran, even his fellow rooks like a Christian Campbell or Marcelo Meyer to look out for him and to know, hey, man, don't be hard on yourself. Get up there, focus on being the best hitter every at-bat, being the best major league player every time you're playing out in the outfield. That's what it has to be. It's baby steps, man. It's walking up the stairs. How do you do it? One step at a time. You can't take escalators or elevators. You got to walk up the stairs to be a good major league player. That's what it comes down to for Roman Anthony, because we know what his bat is. We know the power he brings. We know all the talent he has. He's the #1 prospect in Major League Baseball for a reason. But it is not that simple when it comes to playing for the Red Sox. And I mean that in the best way possible. When you win in this city, you're a god. When you lose in this city, you're the GOAT in the bad way. And that's what it's like playing here.
As a scapegoat.
Yep.
You said best sports cities in America. I took notes. Boston won, duh. You said, this is in order, I'm assuming? You said Philly, New York, and L.A. Okay.
Throw Chicago in there.
Okay, I was just about to say, because my phone was blowing up. Chicago's on the line, and a couple cities in Texas are on the line. Dallas, Houston?
What has Dallas won?
Okay.
What has Houston won? The Astros have done well.
I'm just asking the question.
What has Chicago won aside from the Cubs? And then you got to go back, to 07 for the White Sox?
I'm just asking the question.
No, I get it. But I'm peeking. What has Philly won? The Eagles have done a lot of heavy lifting, right? It's the pressure, though. It's the pressure of being in Boston, Philly, New York, unlike anywhere else in the country. It's the Northeast. We're all PO'd all the time. Weather stinks, a lot of traffic, too many people living here. It's expensive as hell.
You ain't lying.
So we want to turn on the TV and see our teams win. And when they lose, it gets even more aggravating, agitating, frustrating. That's how it is.
Facts.
But when you win, especially here, it's unlike anywhere else.
Well, Roman Anthony, come on in. We welcome you. Alex Cora was on WEEI, the afternoon show, speaking about Roman Anthony. Take a listen.
And I know, at one point Roman is going to be here. The timing, this is something that as an organization, we're going to decide when. Obviously, he's doing an outstanding job. He's getting better. And, he's not knocking on the door. He's knocking it down, let's be honest. And when we make the decision, I know everybody's going to be happy, and I know he's going to contribute.
I can't wait. I know I'm going to be happy. And at this point, and I think you said it, just get these guys. Meyer's already up here. Get Anthony up here. Just get them acclimated. No matter what happens this year, whether you turn around and go on this great run and win the AL and face the Dodgers in the World Series, awesome, or you don't.
Yeah.
Let's get them up. Let's get them acclimated. And let's get that timeline rocking and rolling.
I think it's 1 of 2 dates. Monday, June 2nd, home against the Angels. Woo Sox will be on the road at Scranton finishing up a series.
Okay, I'm with you.
The Red Sox finish up their series at Atlanta that Sunday, too.
Okay.
June 2nd's an off day for the Woo Sox. Red Sox are home against the Angels. Or that following Monday.
Yeah.
Red Sox home against the Rays. Again, Woo Sox with an off day, and that's June 9th. I know the tradition of Major League Baseball is rookies debuting on the road. I don't know why, but that's the tradition. If you have them debut on their next road series after the Braves, it's at New York in the Bronx. You want to be mindful of the pressure that these guys deal with. You want to be mindful of how they can just get acclimated to the MLB level. I wouldn't do it in the Bronx. I would do it at home against Fenway.
I'm with you there. Okay, well, listen, there's a pulse of the fans with all this too, George, because we're all going through it with this team right now and their struggles. Our guy, Jared Carabas, check out this tweet. I laughed out loud with this one. The Red Sox are directly responsible for the rapid decline of my mental health. Now, I'm not quite where my guy Jared is, right? But I get it. Everyone's frustrated. Everyone, look, you and I have spoke about this. This team in the past few years has been 500, right? We always say it feels like Groundhog's Day. But the difference with this season is this team is so talented, and we know they're underachieving. We talk about how open the AL is as a whole, not just the AL East, the AL. So this team underachieving makes it that more painful because we know, hey, look, if you can get your stuff together, get in the postseason, there could be a run there. But the performance on the field, losers of 5 straight, the way they're losing games late, that's where the frustration boils over for the fans. So I feel, Jared, I'm just not quite there yet, George.
I mean, I get it. Jared, literally, if you ask him anything outside of baseball, he doesn't know anything that's going on.
Bro, when the Celtics were in the middle of their championship run,
he literally told me he doesn't give an F.
He didn't know. He knew, but he didn't care.
He didn't care. He knew because people would say congrats
right.
on the Celtics. He's like, I don't care.
He's like, I don't care. I'm a Red Sox guy. It's like, what?
Yeah, he had baseball Monday Night Raw on probably, and then maybe the Celtics are like,
Right.
he's checking updates on them. Jared, we love you, bro. We're looking out for your mental health. But I understand this from Red Sox fans.
Yeah.
Because there's a 2021 run, then it's 78, 78, and 81 wins. Those have been the win totals the last 3 seasons. And you're waiting for the team to get to this point. Think about trading away a Chris Sale, and you see him go be a Cy Young caliber pitcher and winner for the Atlanta Braves. And he was never going to be that guy in Boston. He was never going to be. That was a smart trade. You get a Garrett Crochet. You sign an Alex Bregman. Rafael Devers is playing DH and hitting like one of the best hitters in all of baseball. You have this young talent coming up. You know what Jarren Duran can be. He could be a 5-tool, one of the best players in all of baseball. Seriously, one of the best players of how well-rounded he is.
Yes.
But this is a team that gets in their own way.
Yeah.
It's not just that they're losing close games. It's how they're losing one-run games.
Sure.
The base running, defensive miscues, the mistakes with the bats, leading MLB in strikeouts, being one of the worst in MLB with runners in scoring position, having 20 losses by 1 run. Of their 57 games played so far this season, 58, 20 losses by 1 run. That's where this frustration comes from. You just want, it was the same thing Patriots fans dealt with last season. You just want to see good football. You just want to see good baseball. You want to see a respectable major league team because the Red Sox have that potential. This team is talented. They just got to tap into that talent.
Hey, everyone's frustrated, right? We want to hear from you. Email us at chat@nesson.com. Tweet at us using the hashtag NessonChat. Call us 617-790-0928. Voice your frustrations. It is a safe space with George and I. It's therapeutic here on the show. So we heard your frustration. We heard mine. How about Craig Breslow? I mean, he's frustrated as well. He talked about it on the Greg Hill Show on WEEI.
Yeah, so I think it's a fair question, especially when you look at Roman's performance, in the upper levels of the minor leagues and notably in AAA to start this season. And Roman can be a really, really good player, which we think he is, and still have some development opportunities that he's working through, whether that's getting comfortable in left field. He missed a little bit of time with an injury to his throwing shoulder, working on some things at the plate, despite the fact that the stat lines are going to scream otherwise. But I think we also need to be mindful of the environment that Roman would be coming into and the pressure that we could potentially be putting on a 21-year-old, in the midst of a losing streak to come up and save the team. So Roman's time is coming. I don't think there's any question about that. And we've got to figure out, kind of what is best for the organization, what is best for him.
So there you have it. Now, listen, we talk about expectations there. Craig Breslow was talking about expectations on Roman Anthony. In our next story, I think Cardi B should have perhaps tempered expectations with Stefon Diggs. So this is happier times here, right? Hey, let's get on this boat and have some fun, sure.
Scene on a boat ride is the funniest caption ever. Because that makes it sound like, they're in Venice on the canals, enjoying their time together.
The gondolas.
On a boat ride. That was an experience, seeing the videos from that. But I said it dancing. You call that dancing?
Yeah.
A lot of twerking.
Yeah, a lot of twerking. So,
and a lot of Tusi.
A lot of Tusi. I guess the Daily Mail, so take with that what you will here, has talked to Cardi, allegedly. I have some quotes I'd like to read you. This from the Daily Mail. So take this for what you will. Per source, quote, she doesn't like her man flirting with any ladies. Quote, girls will throw themselves on him all the time, but I wish he wouldn't be such an S-bag and flirt back. He should know better. The fact he didn't realize what was going on around him is embarrassing. And she's mad at him. Stefon, bro, everyone's mad at you now. I mean, Mike Vrabel, I believe, cussed you out.
Yeah.
I'm definitely disappointed in you. You're from Maryland, bro. Come on, we got to represent. Even I know from where we from, have a bag to put the phones in. Come on, man. George is disappointed in you because he defended you when the Patriots threw the bag at you. Mm-hmm. And I said, this is a bad move. He's not a leader. George said, people change, Trav. The guy's coming off an injury. He's going to be all right, Trav. He's going to be productive. Everyone's mad at Stefon Diggs now because you're disappointed in the twerking and the Tusi.
I'm disappointed in it all. I don't care about the twerking. That's fine, bro. If that's a party you want to be at, I'm not upset about the 2C even, too. If you could do that and it doesn't bring any harm to you, your family, doesn't affect your work, like NFL players aren't the only people doing 2C
or anything.
Extracurriculars outside of work.
Where are you most disappointed
lawyers.
in him?
I'm disappointed that the phone was right there and he kept doing it and then whipped out the bag. Wait for the phone to go away. I was like, Cardi B, I get it why she's upset. I don't care. What you guys do, that's your business.
Facts.
They could be into that whole thing, right?
Well, it doesn't sound like it.
It doesn't sound like it, but maybe they are. And she's pissed he got caught on camera too. It was dumb. He's better than that, bro. But it's the same thing. It's the Stefon Diggs video that went viral from the Vikings all the way back.
Sure.
Who's the last player on the team you'd want dating your sister? Unanimously was Stefon Diggs.
No hezzies either.
He's a dog, and that's fine, man. That's do you. Cardi B sees that, and we see that video, and it's the same old Stefon. There needs to be some maturity. This is your last big paycheck. Dude.
Yes.
Don't F that up.
Bro, last big paycheck. He's lucky he got this paycheck.
Yeah.
I told you, if the Patriots didn't throw him that bag, that's what I'm saying. It was a wait and see on Stefon Diggs. He would have got a veteran prove-it deal, which I still think the Patriots should have gave him. They gave him benefit of the doubt instead and gave him the bag. And already, without playing a down in a regular season game, this is what we got.
It's also like, what are you doing messing with Tusi? Like anything dyed pink. I stopped taking pre-workout because it has that dye red 44 in it. Like I'm good with that. You're a millionaire. You're messing with whatever they got left on the table, scrapping it together and dyeing it pink. The whole thing, man. The whole thing.
Hey, lots of trade talk surrounding the Celtics. George and I will take our hand at it next. Remember, get the latest up-to-date live. We've got Boston sports headlines along with your daily dose of sports trending topics and social topics right here every day on Boston Has Entered the Chat. Hey, here we go. Welcome back to Boston Has Entered the Chat. Travis Thomas, George Balekji. Feel Good Friday. You know what doesn't feel good, though? Every single time I log on the internet. You know that's hard for me. I'm in.
It's a typewriter.
Inside joke here. Everyone knows I have tech issues amongst many others. So I'm logging on. I go on Bleacher Report yesterday.
Yeah.
Jaylen Brown, we have the trade. We figured out the Celtics. everywhere I look, everywhere I go on the internet, you have Jaylen Brown getting traded, or Jayson Tatum getting traded, or Derek White getting traded. So here's Bleacher Report's trade proposal for the Spurs getting a Jaylen Brown. As you look at this, George, do you love, like, or hate this proposed trade from Bleacher Report?
I'm a wash on it.
Wash?
I like it, but I'm not doing it. As you point out, every time we open our phones now, anytime you go anywhere, there's a Jaylen Brown proposed trade.
Yes.
What else can this man do? He was drafted and booed on draft night. He worked his way up from a 6-man to a 3-and-D player to a finals MVP, an all-pro caliber NBA player that got the Supermax.
You're not wrong.
And he's still getting shopped around in trades.
You're not wrong.
And he came back a better player after he got paid.
And you don't think, you think there's still more room for him to grow and become an even better?
Not even 30 yet. It's going to be tough to see how he comes back, but it's only a partially torn meniscus. Yes, he relies on his athleticism, but he gets better year by year, and he has the mindset to be one of the best players in the NBA. And every time he opens his phone, or every time he gets in his car, and if the radio's left on, it's Jaylen Brown trade talk. What else can the man do?
Yeah.
I'm not trading him. Now, this package, though, I understand it. That's something where you look and you think about it. You're getting Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson, Jeremy Sochan. You're getting a Vassell who's a big wing, good shooter, and a lot of guys that can play both ways. And then you're getting 2 top 15 picks. Number two could be Ace Bailey out of Rutgers. I would take him over Dylan Harper.
Okay.
Harper's too much of puts the ball into the floor way too much. His usage is through the roof. Celtics are all about ball movement. But I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
Jaylen Brown busted his ass to become a top 20 player in the NBA, to be what you would hope any of these 5 guys you're drafting would become. Jaylen Brown is that, and an elite wing. I'm not trading.
Okay, I hear you, but you're sounding very like fanboy of loyalty. Listen, this is business.
Yeah.
Okay? For all the things you said why you shouldn't trade Jaylen Brown, I can make an argument that's exactly why you trade him right now, because I don't think his value is going to get any higher.
Okay.
You already know Tatum's going to miss next season. You already know you're not certainly going to be a championship team. I'm not going to go as far as a lot of people that next season's a wash. I don't necessarily believe that. I still think the Celtics are probably, with a healthy Jaylen Brown, by the way, are probably a 6, 7, maybe 5 seed in the East. So you're still a playoff team. You're not going into the dumps. But if you trade Jaylen Brown, that is signaling we could be, right? Then next season would be a wash. But you would trade him because of what you can get back. In fact, Yahoo Sports, I actually like this trade proposal better because I'm with you on Bleacher Reports. I don't hate this one. Take a look at this one now, George. Here's a name that jumps out to me, Stephon Castle, who played at UConn right in our backyard, a guy we love. Number 2 pick still involved there. First round pick in 2027. I hate when they do this in the NBA. It's the only sport. It drives me nuts. 2030 first round pick. I mean, who's getting drafted there? My son.
I don't even know if the world will exist.
Right, like what are we doing? But I do like this trade a little bit better, do you?
Stephon Castle's a good player. He's a good two-way point guard. Doesn't shoot, though, but good defender and great at attacking the rim. And like you mentioned, yeah, he won a natty at UConn and was one of their best players on the floor. But that's the same thing. If I'm the one that's loyal to a fault, you are name recognition. I like this trade. End of the day, and this is where I go to, it's not the loyalty.
Right.
It is that when it comes to the NBA, with all these draft picks made, you hope one of the guys that you draft, let alone say they get 3 picks in one draft, you hope one of those guys ends up being an elite wing, a all-NBA guy. Jaylen Brown's that times 5.
Yeah.
He is that. I always go, give me the proven commodity over the prospect.
Sure.
And he's not even 30 years old yet. That's the thing. And I get it. Tatum's out. They have to shed salary.
Yeah.
They need to get under the tax apron. It's going to be a rebuild.
Yeah.
You don't have to get rid of Jaylen Brown to make all of that be accomplished. Drew Holiday, Kristaps Porzingis, Sam Hauser. When you draft a Baylor Shireman, you can trade away a Sam Hauser. That's where you're building up this roster. You have a good coach. You have a very good leader in the front office in Brad Stevens. That's the important parts of all of this. And end of the day, every NBA team would die to have a Jayson Tatum and a Jaylen Brown. Would die to have that.
Okay, you bring up Jayson Tatum. Any chance at all?
No, don't.
At all. I'm just, I asked the question. You know, this is what we do.
No, but if you finish the question, what, extend them even more?
Is there any chance, we're talking Jaylen Brown here,
okay,
but is there any chance Jayson Tatum is available via trade?
No.
GM George, phone rings, Hi, is this George? Yes. Oh, this sounds relaxing. Where are you? I'm chasing Summer. How can I help you? Well, GM George, we're calling, inquiring about Jayson Tatum. Are you doing this, or are you saying, go on?
Who's calling? What's the franchise? But I'm hanging up right away.
Well, what do you mean? You can't know. See what you did there? This is where you make me sick. You're on the fence. Who's calling? I'm hanging up. No. What do you mean who's calling? Let's stay there. Is there a team or a player that piques your interest where you would say, well, who is this? Oh, Milwaukee? Go on.
No.
What do you mean? Okay, so what do you mean by that, George?
San Antonio, Oklahoma City. That's I stay on the phone. And if it's San Antonio, it has to be a French name. If it's Oklahoma City, I need 3 syllables or 3 letters to an acronym, SGA or Wemby. That's where the conversation starts. That's where the conversation starts.
So you would have that? You would entertain those?
They would be crazy to do that, though.
Well, who would?
Both San Antonio and OKC.
The Celtics wouldn't.
SGA isn't even 27 yet and is about to win his first ring. Wemby hasn't even played 2 years in the league, and I know his season ended due to him dealing with what he's dealing with, but like the ceiling on both those guys is sky high. Wemby's going to be the future #1 player in the league. Go face whatever it may be. Those are the 2 players that I entertain if you're calling about Jayson Tatum.
I only asked the question because a couple wild and crazy guys on Nesson's Hold My Banner, great basketball program, you know it, great basketball program, actually threw this around as a topic. Take a listen.
As we were watching this Thunder win, people were feeling a little spicy mouth. You know what I mean? Seeing SGA get Western Conference Player of the Finals or whatever, MVP. They were talking a little spicy mouth. And some people were saying they would trade SGA.
Who was, say what?
For Jayson Tatum.
Who said that? The people in your DMs?
Some people in my DMs.
That were spicy mouth said walk me through this, that what?
Said that they would trade Jayson Tatum right now for SGA. I want to know how you feel about that.
I mean, well, yeah. What's the question?
Huh?
What you mean, huh?
What you would trade Jayson Tatum?
You can't hear now?
For SGA.
You all right?
You said, is this thing going?
Sir,
let me make sure you're paying attention
MVP.
to what I'm saying.
This MVP in the league.
Oh my God.
How many MVPs does Jayson Tatum have?
None.
Okay.
So nothing about loyalty.
Now, loyalty. By the way,
championships.
By the way, respectfully, Tatum's a champion.
Right.
But we all think SGA's about to be one too.
About to be.
I'm just saying, respectfully.
So getting to the Eastern Conference Finals all them years for Tatum don't mean nothing?
I never said nothing don't mean nothing. I said I would trade Tatum for SGA. You damn right I would. And then loyalty in sports? Since when? How's never sound?
Hey.
Yes, I'm not spicy mouth like the people sliding in the DM. Okay,
Right.
I'm not out here broadcasting and manufacturing and banging the drum.
Right.
Trade Jayson Tatum for SGA. First of all, OKC ain't doing that. They don't want that. They're like, nah, we're good with our guy.
Right.
Hell yeah.
And Boston is like, we good with our guy too.
Boston might be like that, not me.
Wait till this clip comes out. They're going to be mad at you.
Look at my
Take the mic away.
Janae, give me the ISO. Give me the ISO, please.
Oh, my God.
Ain't nobody worried about y'all. If y'all come for me, fine, cool. But if you really sit back and you ask yourself, right now, today, would I trade Jayson Tatum for SGA? You know the answer. I don't even got to say nothing to you. I'm just bold enough to say, hell yeah. Okay, now I'm not gonna lie. I was aggressive with how I handled it, and the people did come for me, George. They did. They let me know. They let me hear it. Well, only a few agreed with.
Give me the rational. Don't give me the idiots of social media.
Well, then the rational, it was very quiet. It was only a couple of them that said Giannis and SGA, they would consider.
Wemby and SGA for me.
And we didn't even really talk Wemby just because we thought the Spurs would never even entertain it. And obviously the Thunder as well. But Giannis is available, and that would not shock me. I don't necessarily think for Tatum. But I do think a Jaylen Brown, Giannis feels something to me.
Yes.
So I wouldn't be shocked if as the summer goes on, maybe we hear something. But most fans were like, no shot. Tatum's safe. I think most of us feel like Tatum's safe, but it's just worth the combo.
I understand the loyalty for Jayson Tatum, 1,000%. That's the face of your franchise. That's the best player for the Celtics right now. But you and I were the same. Without even knowing you guys talked about that on Hold My Banner. Check it out wherever you get your podcast. Oklahoma City would not pick up the phone with that offer.
No.
SGA right now, and what we saw this season, and what we've seen the last couple of years of build up to, you can say SGA is top 3, top 4 in the NBA.
Absolutely.
You would say Tatum's top 5, top 7.
Yeah.
So he's right on his heels. But Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is younger, not dealing with a torn Achilles. OKC is not picking up that phone and making that offer.
Sure.
They're exactly where you have a Giannis or an SGA, I have a Wemby or an SGA. Those are the players that I would listen to and listen to packages trading away a Jayson Tatum. Now, it wouldn't be a 1-for-1, though.
Yeah.
Tatum, Brown, other pieces, other draft picks. Like, that's what would come into it. But at the same time, Oklahoma City's not picking up that phone and making that happen, especially after they win the finals. That's a team that's below the tax.
Yeah.
Obviously, SGA is getting paid, but they've either traded for their talent or drafted their top talent, the top contributors on this team.
Sure.
That's a team that realistically, again, we always talk about the back-to-backs after they win one.
Yeah.
OKC can win back-to-back. They're young, they're healthy, they're under the tax, they're not getting paid yet. SGA is the reason why, though. That dude is absolutely dominating the Western Conference Finals, outshot Anthony Edwards, and has dominated the NBA the last 2 years.
Okay, so they're not picking up the phone, but we hear rumored that the Spurs are interested in shopping the number 2 pick. What about, let's move it up a bit. I mean, our old pal, old Nico. I mean, do you think there's a shot at all that the Mavericks move off number 1?
No.
Would you entertain a Tatum or a Brown to Dallas, who's trying to win now? So I guess Tatum would be out. So Jaylen Brown to Dallas, would you entertain that for Cooper Flag?
The number 1 pick, that would be straight up. I would not do Jaylen Brown for Cooper Flag either.
Okay.
I understand everything Cooper Flag does, but again, what's your floor? Because right now, Jaylen Brown's floor is an all-NBA player or worse than an all-star.
Yes.
And the second best player on the championship team.
Yes.
Cooper Flag's floor is the 3rd, 4th best player. You hope he could be a good number 2.
Sure.
Jaylen Brown's a fantastic, great all-NBA number 2.
He might be an
He's a
all-time
finals
number
MVP.
2. Yeah.
He was the reason the Celtics dominated their way through the playoffs.
Some people think he's a number 1, dog.
I don't think he's a number 1.
I don't either.
I don't think he can be the best offensive option for a championship
people think
team.
that.
But he's a 1B to a really good 1A in a Tatum.
I agree with you, but I'll let you go with this. Maybe this is a little more realistic, because I don't think Nico is even in position to trade this pick. He better take Cooper Flag, okay? So let's take him off the board. Jaylen Brown's injured next. Let's say you keep everyone. Jaylen Brown's injured next season. Doesn't come back as soon as we thought. And then by the time he's ready, it's like, what's the point? Jayson Tatum's out. You stink. You're not trying to tank, but somehow you end up in the lottery.
Yeah.
AJ Dybantsa.
Yeah.
From Brockton.
What do you have, a 1.8% chance to have the number 1 overall pick?
Excuse me, sir. What did the Mavericks have?
That's what I'm saying.
And by the way, if this stuff is fixed, like many of us believe it is, and you got the Celtics in that lottery right
Got
there.
the kid from Brockton going to the Celtics.
Am I crazy?
No.
Well, don't answer that. But am I far off here?
I really don't think it's fixed. And I was one that thinks it is, but how often does it happen? A team that should have been picking 11th gets a number 1 overall pick.
Yes.
Why would you reward Dallas? But yeah, I mean, if the Celtics are in position to get AJ Dybantsa, you get AJ Dybantsa. Because he can be that number 1, that best option for everything, offensively and defensively for a championship team.
Yes.
If they're in a place to draft an AJ Dybantsa, then you add him to a Tatum and a Brown, that 3-headed monster.
Oh my goodness.
That's it.
That's nasty. And you wouldn't have to give up Jaylen Brown. In my scenario, you wouldn't have to give up Jaylen Brown.
You don't second
again.
guess it.
Wow.
But that's a pipe dream.
It is.
That's beyond a pipe dream.
It is. I don't hate tanking for him, though. Like, if Jaylen Brown gets his surgery later and he's hurt.
Go ask the Utah Jazz about tanking for a number 1 overall pick, though.
Yeah,
it's a lottery
end
of the day.
Yes, it doesn't always work out.
The 76ers have the number 3 overall pick.
Right.
Like, how absurd that is. Now, they were terrible and a lot of injuries.
Yeah.
And good for them. They'll get an Ace Bailey or a Harper. Let's see. But tanking doesn't work in the NBA.
Welcome back to Boston has entered the chat. You are looking live at a tweet from the New England Patriots saying, 1 day at a time. Flex on them, baby.
New helmet for Gonzalez.
How about Gonzo looking good? He was locked in, too. That was a pick 6. You could just tell from that look. He read the ball.
Off of Ben Woodridge, not Drake May. We're hoping.
Even if it was Drake May, that's how you learn. Bro, I just watched a doc. No, it wasn't a doc. It was America's Game on NFL Network. You ever seen those?
No.
They do like a 1-hour special on every Super Bowl team for each year.
Yeah.
My son is addicted to these. And there's, of course, a million Patriots ones because they win every Super Bowl. So we're watching them. And it was the early one. I think it was the first one against the Rams. And the defense is saying how, of course, Tom Brady's the GOAT because he practiced against us as a rookie and early in his career. He used to throw picks all the time.
Yeah.
We used to pick on him all the time. We used to talk trash to him.
Oh, yeah.
He would get mad. He would pout. And it forged the GOAT, right?
Mm-hmm.
So even if it's Drake May throwing pick sixes right now in May at OTAs, cool, bro. Tighten it up before we get to the season. I'm fine with it.
It's one of those things, like if you have an elite wide receiver, you most likely will have an elite corner because they go against each other every day in practice.
That's
Same thing
right.
with the tackle and defensive end.
Good point.
It's iron sharpens iron. If you're going against a guy that's one of the best in the league every day in practice, you get to game day on Sundays, they're a chump to you because there ain't your guy that's on your team.
Okay, so we look at this Patriots defense since we're talking about Gonzo.
Yeah.
We know he's safe. He ain't going nowhere. He's the future, the present, the alpha, and the omega. But there are some people on this defense who could be on the hot seat this season. You better have a good performance or else. I'll tell you one that jumps out to me as we talk about some names here.
Yeah.
Jabril Peppers. Because this is a guy who's supposedly your leader, where we heard this before. But off the field, not so much. On the field, I'm not trying to say he's a scrub, but he's not the best safety in the game. So it's almost a weird kind of year for him in the sense of you better show up and show out and ball and be a leader and make us forget about all the other stuff that happened. And maybe you'll be fine. But if not, if you're mediocre on the field, right? Or you just have an okay season or you're injury prone, or if there's any issues at all, if you get a speeding ticket, you got to be careful off the field because you could be gone. To me, that's the hottest seat on the defense. And that's a veteran guy that you would think would be a Vrabel guy. Although there's no history, but personality feels.
Exactly. Personality's game. He plays downhill. He loves to bring the boom. That's everything Mike Vrabel wants. He's fast. He's explosive. He's aggressive. He's a mother effer on the field. He's 30 years old, coming off everything he's dealing with, like you said, last offseason, which he addressed at OTAs as well.
He owns it.
That's a guy that if he can get back to his position of being an in-the-box safety, and we'll see what happens if a Jalen Hawkins takes a leap. If the rookie Craig Woodson ends up being a free safety. They signed to Marcus Epps. He sounds like he'll be the guy this year to dominate that 1/3 of the field, basically play center field for the Patriots defense. I look at a Jabril Peppers, I agree. I think the same thing with the Kyle Duggar. He's still playing on that extension. He still has some guaranteed money. This is a guy that was so injured last season, dealing with a bad ankle, just didn't look like himself. I think that's a guy that could be on a hot seat to prove himself. But to me, it's more than what they're dealing with contract-wise, what they're dealing with their age. I just think it's scheme fit. And I see Jelani Tavai as a linebacker that's an odd man looking out. Maybe because he's a good edge rusher. He can be a backup. He could be a third line edge rusher for the defense because he lined up all over. But he's a bigger linebacker. He's an off-ball linebacker. He's more of a thumper. When you bring in a Jack Gibbons to be a guy that's a backup to a Robert Spillane, those are the Mike Vrabel type of linebackers. Rush 4, linebacker cleans up whatever gets across.
Sure.
A Jelani Tavai is a guy that blows up the blockers and tries to free up for people behind him, try to eat up blockers and just, plug the run game that way. His game wasn't the best. He wasn't the best addressing the media, dealing with the fan base. It's just, this is such a tough team to evaluate because there's so much chaos going on around them when it came to the coaching staff. I look at a Jelani Tavai. That, to me, is a guy that's on the hot seat.
Was he the guy? He was on the radio talking trash, wasn't he?
When they got booed, he was like, you
right?
can't do what we do. You don't know what it takes to do this. Yeah.
It was him.
Yes.
I'm shocked he's still here. I'm sorry.
I'm not.
Why? Because, listen, that was a Gerard Mayo nonsense, and we get it. And maybe he got a pass for that. But, if I'm Mike Vrabel, if I come in and I'm aware, maybe I don't even know if he's aware, but if I'm aware that happened, I just don't even want that because you showed one time.
Yeah.
I get that the head coach you had at the time was a pushover, whatever, right?
Yeah.
If I'm Mike Vrabel, I've already seen you do that once. I'm not playing those games with you. And you're not that good where I can't replace you.
But it's one time, but that's what makes Mike Vrabel good. Because he could have came in right away and he could have cut Jelani Tavai. He could have cut a Jabril Peppers. He could have cleaned house completely.
Good point.
He could have cut a Javon Baker. But he's a man of his word and he goes, everyone has a clean slate. I don't care where you were drafted. I don't care where you were signed. I don't care about any of that. I want the best 53 guys every Sunday. But if you're really about that, you give everyone a clean slate and in a way, a second chance, or for him, a fresh first impression. So Jelani Tavai messed up, but that's talking with the media. in a really difficult season where they're hearing it from all angles. And I put myself in the shoes of the athlete where every week they're getting hammered. Every week they're losing. And football is a tough sport. You practice all week. You get your butt kicked. You get one chance. It's not basketball. You get 2-3 games. It's not hockey. It's not baseball.
Yeah.
Where you get multiple times to play the game. It's practice, and one time a week you get to prove yourself, and they were bad. I give him a pass on those comments. Wasn't the best, but that is a reflection of who Mike Vrabel is. Really and truly giving everyone the opportunity to prove themselves to him.
I might be looking into this deeper than it really is, but that's my job. Hearing you talk about that makes me feel like because of Mike Vrabel's ties to this organization, because of Mike Vrabel's ties to a Bill Belichick, it's easier for him to come in with Belichick guys and make it work. Where, as opposed to, who's a coach we were talking, like a Ben Johnson. If Ben Johnson takes this job, right?
Yeah.
He's going to come in and do exactly what you just said. You're cut, you're gone, you're out, you're cool, you're out, see ya, right?
He did that now with David Andrews, Joe Cardona,
Certain
Jawan
guys,
Bentley.
but it wasn't
Jacoby Brissett, let him walk.
It wasn't a big number of guys.
Yes.
Where, as opposed to like I'm just using Ben Johnson. I'm not saying him, but a different coach other than Mike Vrabel, they could come in clean house.
You know
I want my guys.
You know who does that? Josh McDaniels. He's the type of coach that does that.
What do you mean?
He wanted the control when it came. He got to Denver and right away picked up the phone to trade Jay Cutler.
Right.
And he never was able to recover that relationship with the franchise quarterback. He got to Vegas, and 2.5 seasons later, he was fired. The guys were smoking cigars in the locker room.
That's right.
That's the difference between a Josh McDaniels, high football IQ, but not a head coach and not a leader, and a Mike Vrabel.
That's not fair. Well, that's true. But that's not fair for this combo.
McDaniels stinks as a head coach.
That's not fair for this combo in this way.
Okay.
Is Vrabel unique in that it's the Patriots? So, for example, if Vrabel gets the Saints job, does he go in and clean house?
No.
So this is a Vrabel personality thing.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's what's big on him is that he's spoken about building relationships with players. That's where he's grown. And this is a guy that, he's a hard ass. We saw him he was prickly because he was pissed off with Stefon Diggs, right? And you see that. But when you see Mike Vrabel every day and when you hear him talk every day, you understand, like, he gets it. He opens up every press conference, Karen, what do you got for me?
Yeah.
He understands the media's job. He understands how to build relationships. He understands his job, the player's job. He understands what goes into building a winning culture and just basically getting this car back on the road and just towards its destination of being a respectful franchise.
Sure.
The head coaches that don't understand that, they clean house, and then it's just absolute madness. And the guys that you could bring in, if you're going to be that quick with the trigger and turn on them, they're not going to be as devoted to you in a way. They're not going to just run through walls for you. I know it's the most overused term ever.
Sure.
But they won't have as much vindication of play for you because you don't really care about them. Mike Vrabel cares about his players. He knows it's bigger than him. He doesn't have that ego of, I'm one of the best head coaches in the NFL. He has a humility to understand he needs these players, and how bad this roster was, yes, there's a lot of carryover from the last team. But just because the roster is really bad doesn't mean you cut everyone. These are still NFL players end of the day.
You know, it almost feels like it's a redshirt year for Mike Vrabel, the coach. Not to say you can't win in a redshirt year.
It's a multi-year rebuild.
Well, but in what you're saying, year one, I'm going to keep the guys I have. Of course, we're going to add guys in, my guys as well, Vrabel guys who play with him in Tennessee. But it's almost like a redshirt year. Why I say that for Vrabel, because I'm evaluating these guys in year one of who are carryover dudes and who can play, who can fit my system, who can't, whose attitude do I like, whose do I not. And then maybe next offseason, you see more of an overhaul, potentially, right? If he likes these guys, great. So that's an I've never looked at it from this perspective. That's why I asked you the question, is it a personality thing? Because I always looked at it as it's unique to Vrabel's relationship with Kraft and this city and this franchise. But if it's if that's Mike Vrabel, then if I'm a holdover, I am doing everything humanly possible to stick around. Everything humanly possible.
This is a head coach that will set up a defense for success. And this is an offensive coordinator that's going to set up an offense for success. If it doesn't benefit you with the Patriots and you're a player, it benefits you down the road to get a contract, to hit free agency, whatever it may be.
That's right.
But this is also a guy, keep in mind, we're talking about a team that has 90 guys on their roster right now. They have to trim it down to 53 when it comes to Sundays, right? 31% of everyone that's wearing a Patriots uniform right now is either a rookie that was drafted or an undrafted free agent. 31%. It's a lot of new faces. So eventually there will be, in a way, a lot of cuts made, a lot of heads rolling.
Yeah.
But you can't come in trigger happy.
Right.
You want guys, because if you're Mike Vrabel too, you want the guys to walk into the building every day focused on football and being a better player and improving.
Right.
You don't want them looking over their shoulder thinking they're going to get cut, thinking they're going to get called into the GM office at any given moment. You want them to focus on football, and then yes, eventually it becomes a business. When we bring up guys like a Jelani Tavai, who didn't handle the media well in that time.
He's a Vrabel dude, though. The way he plays, the way his attitude is. I didn't love the media shots.
Where I go is a Keyshawn Boutte or a Javon Baker. Javon Baker, obviously, his comments he made when he was drafted him, people in wheelchairs stand up, whatever, that's a wide receiver.
We just roll our eyes.
You couldn't even get on the field on Sundays. You couldn't even be active. For a Keyshawn Boutte, multiple times saying to the media, yeah, I told the offensive coordinator to throw me the damn ball, and they eventually did, and that's why it happened. Dude, you do not sell out your OC like that. One of the only good assistant coaches on that staff last year, by the way. Keyshawn Boutte, who are you? That's not respecting the team.
Sure.
That's not respecting the offensive coordinator, the head coach, whoever.
Right.
Those are the guys, to me, that are more on the line of on the hot seat. A Jelani Tavai, one big mess up, still a good player, versatile in his alignments.
Yeah.
And you need to figure this team out.
Who do you think, because both of us think this defense is going to be improved. I mean, it's not much, nowhere lower to go. It's only up,
the worst in the league.
Who's sort of the X factor outside of the obvious, a Gonzo? But who do you sort of look at as in this new Vrabel world? Schematically, we know what he likes to do. Who could maybe pop and have a big year? I know we're talking hot seat, but who's sort of an X factor who could shine in this new system?
I think it immediately goes to a Christian Barmore, how available he'll be in that interior pass rush.
Sure.
For him and Milton Williams, I want to go away from that. I look at a Keon White because that's a guy that can line up. Again, I'm talking versatility on the defensive line. He's a good pass rusher when he lines up in the B gap and can line up outside of a guard, outside shoulder, right?
Yeah.
He can blow up the middle of the pocket. He's also lined up on the edge. He could be that rover, in a way, an off-ball linebacker, just play everywhere. But at 290 pounds and just sheer muscle and the strength he has, that guy can be such a dangerous player along the defensive line and really in the front seven.
Yeah.
He was good as a rookie. His second season, he struggled. And he came out and said, I'm not being put in the right position. I want to be coached the right way. I want to be challenged. I want to be coached hard. But the way I'm being coached right now is not working for me. And you know what? If you don't want to use me how I should be used, that's fine. I don't care. I don't want you fired. I want me somewhere else. That's what he basically said to the media last year. He's really smart, works really hard, very talented. He has everything you want, all the intangibles of a football player. I think he's an X factor because he could be that starting edge rusher. He could be that second line interior pass rusher. He could be a guy that helps that defensive line win at the line of scrimmage.
I like Harold Landry.
Yeah.
I mean, he should be fully healthy now. He knows Vrabel's system.
Yeah.
You're talking about Barmore and those guys up front and Keon.
Still got to wreak havoc on the edges.
Yes, sir. He's got monsters up front. I think he'll be just fine. Welcome back to Boston has entered the chat. All right, George, the Oil knock out the Stars. They are going to the Stanley Cup final. Little rematch action. Oil Panthers. Brad Marchand, our old friend, still hurts my heart.
Who do you root for? Do you want the Panthers to win a cup?
I hate that
So
team.
Marchand gets another ring.
I love him.
Or do you want a Canadian team to win the Stanley Cup final?
God.
Who do you hate less?
Bro, it's just like we just talked about with the Pacers and Knicks. Like, we hate all the above.
Yes.
I love Brad. I'm happy that he's there, but it's not a Bruins Cup. So what do I care, right? Like, I love him. I'm happy for him. But, like, am I really going to root for the Panthers? In fact, the tweets are rolling in. This tweet made me laugh out loud. Congrats to Brad Marchand for making it to the Stanley Cup final all by yourself. Congrats to you and only you, no one else.
Block out the Florida Panthers logo on this photo.
Can we
Basically what they're
Photoshop
saying.
it?
Yeah, right. Just put Brad Marchand's face on there too. Again, block out all Panthers logos. But that's where I go. I mean, so on one hand, Connor McDavid, the modern day most dominant athlete in all four pro major sports, in my opinion. He either gets his first Stanley Cup championship, and that's the first step of him. He'll be in the Hall of Fame eventually.
Absolutely.
If he's healthy.
Yes.
Or the guy that gave everything to Boston, the guy that embraced this city and this community the moment he was drafted, the guy that didn't play a major role in 2011, but helped guide the team to multiple Stanley Cup final runs, multiple deep playoff runs as well. Did everything to the city for him to get another Stanley Cup championship, plays a significant role from the Panthers, and to me would be the punctuation on his already Hall of Fame ballot resume.
Yeah.
I'm going Brad Marchand here. I want to see McDavid get his first, but this is Marchand's last real shot, in my opinion, of getting one. It's tough to be rooting for the Panthers. I will only be pulling for a team when a single person's on the ice for a shift. It'll be 45 seconds at a time, and I'll be watching for Boston's rat, now Florida's rat, Brad Marchand.
I love Brad. You got a cup here. That's enough for me.
You can't root for the Panthers.
I'm going for McDavid.
Yeah.
Because you kind of said it, like the big picture of McDavid's career. Bro, if you lose these finals again, now his legacy starts to get shaped. Well, can he win the big one? Can you build around him? Is he a championship
I don't
player?
think Stuart Skinner can show his face anywhere if they lose these finals again.
Good point. But I'm just speaking to Connor McDavid, because you make a great point there. But Connor McDavid himself,
yeah.
I want him to be as great as we're all thinking and ordaining him to be.
Yeah.
Okay, so you need this Stanley Cup. But I'm happy for Brad that he's there. Now, it all got us to thinking about our teams. Who's the next in town to win a title, you think? That's a tough one. I'm gonna go Patriots.
All these teams, whether they want to admit it or not, are in a rebuild. The Celtics got to it a lot sooner than they wanted to be. They were going to blow up this roster, but they would have still had Tatum and Brown.
It would have been a revamp.
Now they're like 2 years away from getting back to at least contending.
Yeah.
The Bruins, same thing, got a lot younger with the roster.
Yeah.
They're building for the short term and the long term, have a lot of draft picks, and they have a top 10 pick.
I would have answered Sox, but the way they're playing right now, I can't answer that.
The Sox, to me, are close
they
have an ace. We'll see how many more years Aroldis Chapman has left. Do they have a closer right now?
Well, there's a trade deadline coming, so if they're not sellers, they could potentially add.
They have one of the best pitchers in baseball. They have the best designated hitter in baseball, not named Shohei Ohtani.
Right.
And they have a Jaron Duran, Marcelo Meyer, Roman Anthony, Sedane Rafaela, Christian Campbell. They have the foundational pieces of young talent. Need to add to the bullpen, need to get a more powerful bat as well.
Sounds
and
like
they
you're
need to
going
get a
Sox.
first baseman.
Your Sox?
I would go Red Sox here.
Really?
I also think it's the path, and that's the way I look at it. The AL isn't that, there's not too much parity.
Dominant. Yeah.
It's wide open. It is. And that's the thing, again, it's what adds to the frustration of how the Red Sox are playing, where if you play good baseball, and piece by piece you build your way to get higher and higher above 500, you can find yourself vying for an AL East pennant, for a wild card spot at worst.
That's
what makes it frustrating. But it's just the AL's all right in front of them. That's why I think Red Sox.
You just have to get in. I hear you. There is parity in the AL. I can't argue that. It's one of the reasons we're all frustrated that they can't get their stuff together. But in the NL, there's not parity. There's killers. Those teams out there, like, where are the Dodgers going besides nowhere ever? Like, they're going to always be a problem. I'm going to go Patriots here.
Okay.
I just think it almost feels, I don't know the word, it feels like momentum's the word I want to use. They just have some juice.
Yeah.
Drake May, in this league, the NFL, you must, it's not even negotiable anymore. Like the 2000 Ravens ain't walking through that door.
Most important position.
Have the quarterback and the head coach combination right.
True.
Whatever it is, you got to have that 1-2 punch. Head coach and quarterback, right? So I think they got that.
No,
Drake
they
May
do.
and Mike Vrabel?
They do. I won't
Feels like
dispute
they're
that.
there.
They have the offensive coordinator, too, that won't get a head coaching job anytime soon. You have your head coach, quarterback, and OC for the next 5 years, in my opinion. That's what's important. I just think they're 3 years away from being serious contenders.
3?
Yes. The Celtics are the same thing.
Wait, no, hold up.
Yes.
Who is? The Patriots? Bro, you got them with 11 wins this year.
Because of an easy schedule. Look at how many games the Commanders just won. Look at how many games the Texans won last year, and look what happened to them. They fell flat on their face.
Cupcake I need to stay with you. Patriots win 11 games this year. They make the playoffs. We all think this is great, but it's really fool's gold because of the schedule. They lose wild card weekend.
They're playing Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, and Josh Allen. They're facing 3 rookie quarterbacks in 3 straight years. They're facing Geno Smith. They're facing a lot of mid. There's a lot of mid on their schedule, and that'll pump them up. But I think the Patriots are 3 years away from being legit contenders. The Celtics are 2-3. The Bruins are 2-3. And the Red Sox, same thing, 2-3. Everyone's on this similar timeline when we see them back in the playoffs being serious contenders. And I was the person that said, hey, I can see the Red Sox winning the AL this season. That was me, 100%.
Of course.
but I haven't seen that level of baseball consistently, so I'm off of that. I'll eat that.
I'm with you.
But I think it's when you look at the timelines. The same thing, the Patriots have their quarterback and head coach.
Yeah.
The Red Sox at least have their ace and have that spot.
No doubt. We want to hear from you. Email us at chat@nesson.com. Tweet at us, #NessonChat. Call us 617-790-0928. Tell us, who do you think is the next team in town to win? I don't trust AI, but George does. So he decided we would ask AI who they think. Here we go. Take a look. The Boston Celtics are the most likely team to secure the next championship in Boston, given their strong roster, favorable odds, and recent performance. The Boston Red Sox also have potential but face significant challenges this season. I'd say so. The New England Patriots and Boston Bruins are in rebuilding phases, making immediate championship aspirations less likely. Are you happy about this?
All the timelines are the same, in my opinion. 2-3
It feels
years.
even. Well, that's why I said it just feels almost like the Patriots have a little bit more right now than the others. Because I agree. They're all really on the same timeline. The Red Sox are ahead of everyone, but they're just not performing to that level.
Right now.
Yes.
But they the timeline of the guys getting MLB experience now, think about it.
Yes.
Christian Campbell's going through the struggles. He is, after the first, once April concluded, ever since the start of May, he has one of the worst OPSs in all of baseball. He's been struggling, and he's about to make a position change. Marcelo Meyer's playing out of position. Roman Anthony's going to get called up. But those guys get real Major League Baseball experience. You have Crochet. They have to add another arm. They have to add to the bullpen. All of this. That's why I think the Red Sox are actually close to a championship. But I don't think anyone's on the doorstep. So if you're all three years away, like how close are you actually when I say you're the closest?
I mean, I'd need it closer. I went to one championship parade since I've been in town, and damn it, I want another one.
It's like if you put me in a room with a bunch of short people and you go, George is the tallest, that doesn't make me tall. I'm just taller than all the short people next to me. That's what it basically feels like right now with the Boston teams.
I don't call George short. I just say he's vertically challenged.
Yeah.
Thank you all for rolling with us here on Boston in the Center of the Chat. You know we love you. And remember this, get the latest up to date live. We've got Boston sports headlines along with your daily dose of trending sports and social topics every weekday on Boston is Center of the Chat. Roll with us.